Back in the year 2002, a rising young stage actor made the bold decision to reveal his true identity to the world, long before mainstream fame arrived. But when a major movie studio offered him a contract several years later, corporate publicists quietly worked behind the scenes to erase all traces of that early interview from the public record. How does an entertainment industry build up a star, only to spend millions of dollars trying to lock them back in a closet they had already successfully escaped? The stakes remain simple for everyone involved. You either maintain the public illusion at all costs, or you watch your entire professional career vanish overnight. For decades, a hidden corporate apparatus operated behind the scenes in Southern California. This network of agents, publicists, and executives treated an actor's private life as a commercial product to be managed, polished, or fabricated for the press. While a few stars managed to break free from these chains, many others spent their entire lives playing a role they had never actually auditioned for. These are the real performers who had to find a way to live through that exhausting double life. Universal Pictures possessed a handsome leading man whose devoted fans mailed thousands of weekly love letters, sparking deep panic among studio executives that a single rumor would sink his box office appeal. So his powerful talent agent, Henry Wilson, arranged a strategic wedding. Their prize star married Phyllis Gates in a quiet ceremony designed to feed the gossip columns. The general public and historians have called these forced unions lavender marriages. This particular arrangement lasted for exactly 3 years before being dissolved in 1958. Its commercial purpose served. Behind this union sat the morals clause, a specific contract paragraph letting executives terminate an actor the very moment their private life threatened their clean, wholesome image. Being gay could end a career with one swift signature. During that classic era, the clean-cut tab hunter represented the ultimate boy next door on the covers of teen magazines. Behind the scenes, Hunter lived in constant fear of exposure while sharing a secret relationship with another male actor. To protect their financial investment, his studio manufactured a highly visible romance with the young starlet Natalie Wood, sending them to high-profile red carpets together, purely for the flashing cameras. Hunter eventually chose to buy out his contract to escape being typecast, valuing his personal artistic freedom far more than any form of synthetic fame. The young actor who shared that secret relationship with Hunter faced an even more intense spotlight. Anthony Perkins, who earned widespread acclaim for his chilling performance as the twitchy motel owner in a famous 1960s psychological thriller film, lived in constant terror of public exposure. Studio executives pressured him relentlessly to project a traditional heterosexual image, even forcing him to undergo agonizing sessions designed to alter his sexuality. Perkins navigated this hostile environment for many years, eventually finding a genuine, loving partnership in his 1973 marriage to Barry Berenson, while keeping the complex details of his private life buried deep beneath his well-known on-screen persona. Cesar Romero charmed movie and television audiences for over 50 years, playing a colorful, white-faced villain on a popular 1960s television series. Within his private circle of friends, Romero never once hid his true identity. He lived openly among his peers, shared long-term relationships, and always remained honest with the people he chose to trust. Yet the general public never discovered his secret. He carried this separation of worlds with him until his death in 1994, living fully as himself in his private life while remaining a complete stranger to the public. If these forgotten stories hidden behind the glossy headlines of old Hollywood pull you in, please subscribe, and the next entertainment secret will land right in your personal feed. One of Romero's contemporaries waited nearly an entire lifetime to speak. Richard Chamberlain rose as a major television heartthrob, starring in hits like Shungun and the sweeping drama The Thornbirds. Underneath the heavy weight of that global fame, Chamberlain closely guarded a personal reality he believed he could never afford to reveal. He finally came out publicly in the year 2003, at the age of 69, publishing a memoir titled Shattered Love. He later explained that during his peak years as a leading man, simple honesty about his life would have completely destroyed his professional career. When he passed away at the age of 90 in Hawaii, his artistic legacy remained tied to the weight he carried for decades, just to keep working in the industry. Other stars created elaborate, tragic fictions to keep the press at bay. Raymond Burr, who dominated television screens for years as a brilliant defense attorney, and later as a wheelchair-using detective, went to extreme lengths to protect his private life. To explain his persistent bachelorhood, Burr and his publicists went so far as to invent 2 deceased wives and a tragic son, stories that the mainstream media printed without asking a single question. In reality, Burr spent 35 years in a devoted, deeply loving partnership with another man named Robert Benavides. far away from the prying eyes of the press. Burr chose to invent phantom tragedies rather than ever let the industry discover his actual love life. Agnes Moorehead, celebrated across the industry for her sharp wit and her iconic role as the flamboyant witch mother in a beloved 1960s television sitcom, guarded her personal life with fierce intensity. Though she was married twice to men, rumors about her orientation persisted in Hollywood circles for decades, which close friend Debbie Reynolds later strongly denied, stating they were maliciously started by a bitter ex-husband. In an era of intense public scrutiny over traditional domestic roles, Moorehead chose to cultivate an icy, strictly professional exterior, keeping the gossip columns focused entirely on her formidable acting skills, rather than on any private companions. During the golden age of film, Clifton Webb, a former professional dancer who earned multiple nominations playing elegant, cynical snobs, lived his entire adult life in a shared home with his beloved mother. The film industry knew him as a gay man, yet the studio machinery worked to keep this knowledge out of the popular fan magazines of the day. Webb never married, never fabricated romances, and instead let his eccentric public persona shield him from any deeper scrutiny. It stood as a rare, quiet compromise, where Webb existed without the need for a false marriage, provided he followed the unwritten rule to never explicitly claim his identity in print. As the decades progressed, Kristy McNichol became a household name in the late 1970s, winning awards for her raw portrayal of a teenage girl in an acclaimed television drama series. But the constant pressure of childhood fame and the need to hide her true identity took a severe, lasting toll on her health. McNichol stepped away from the spotlight altogether, prioritizing her personal well-being over a career built entirely on falsehoods. In the year 2012, she came out publicly to the world, hoping her honesty would help support young people suffering from bullying, showing them that a full, happy life was possible outside the closet. If this story is landing with you today, please tap the like button, as it genuinely helps the algorithm carry these accounts to the people who need to hear them most. Victor Garber, a versatile star of Broadway and a key actor in a popular television drama, simply chose for many years not to talk about his personal life to the media. He worked constantly, moving smoothly between stage and television, without ever addressing his orientation. That quiet stance changed in the year 2013, when an interviewer directly asked him about his long-term male partner. Garber did not deny it, stating simply that everyone already knew about it anyway. His admission marked a clear shift in the industry, proving that the old studio interventions were finally losing their grip. The next actor turned his public coming out into a political protest. Wentworth Miller carried a hit television prison drama, playing a brilliant engineer. In the year 2013, an official invitation arrived for him to attend a film festival in Russia. Miller flatly declined. Instead of sending a polite, private rejection, he released an open letter stating that as a gay man, he could not participate in an event hosted by a country that actively persecuted its citizens. This courageous move transformed his truth into an international statement, risking his future career to take a stand. Matt Bomer, celebrated for his sharp looks and his starring role as a smooth con artist in a popular television series, faced serious roadblocks early in his career. Reports surfaced that Bomer had been a top contender to play a famous superhero, but his casting was allegedly blocked after whispers about his sexuality reached studio executives. He chose to address his life openly by coming out publicly in the year 2012, during an acceptance speech at an advocacy event where he lovingly thanked his partner and their children. Sarah Paulson, who became an award-winning powerhouse across multiple seasons of a popular television horror anthology, received strong advice after starting a high-profile relationship with another actress to keep their partnership a secret. Well-meaning acquaintances warned her repeatedly that public knowledge of her life would hurt her career. Paulson completely ignored the advice, proudly attending major award shows with her partners, speaking openly in interviews, and proving that her immense talent, rather than a manufactured image, would dictate her career trajectory. A similar path unfolded for Cynthia Nixon, who played a cynical lawyer on a successful premium cable series. When her relationship with a female activist became public in the early 2000s, publicists scrambled to manage the press, fearing a major career-ending backlash that never materialized. Nixon refused to treat her personal life as a crisis. She embraced her relationship publicly, eventually transitioning from acting into a prominent political run, proving that authentic living could open doors that the old system never wanted her to explore. Portia de Rossi, an Australian actress who starred in a hit comedy series, spent her early years in Hollywood terrified of being exposed. She struggled with eating disorders, a physical manifestation of the stress of hiding her true self from the press. The breakthrough came when she met popular host Ellen DeGeneres. Choosing love over fear, de Rossi came out, married DeGeneres, and later wrote about how dropping the exhausting double life saved her health. Jim Parsons spent years playing an eccentric scientist on the most popular comedy on television, a straight character millions welcomed into their homes. In the year 2012, near the height of that show's fame, a newspaper writer noted in passing that Parsons was gay and had been in a relationship for a decade. No cover story appeared, nor any tearful interview. Just a simple fact slipped into an article about his stage work. This normalization proved that a gay actor could anchor the highest-rated sitcom without losing the audience's affection. George Takei, beloved for piloting a famed starship in a pioneering 1960s science fiction television series, spent decades hiding his identity to protect his career. He witnessed how easily the industry could discard an actor for a rumor. The breaking point arrived in 2005, when California's governor vetoed a bill legalizing same-sex marriage. Angered by this decision, Takei could no longer remain silent. At age 68, he came out publicly to the world, using his platform to advocate for civil rights and becoming a powerful voice for equity. Rupert Everett, a British actor who possessed the charm of a classic romantic lead, became a star after his performance in a well-known 1997 romantic comedy. Everett chose to live openly as an out gay man, but he later wrote candidly about the steep professional price he paid for that honesty. He stated that the studio system instantly stopped viewing him as a romantic lead for mainstream projects, shifting him instead into supporting roles. His experience served as a reminder that while some doors had opened, old prejudices of the casting process still lingered. Jonathan Bailey, who stars as an aristocratic romantic lead in a popular Netflix period drama, received explicit warnings early in his career that revealing his sexuality would cost him roles. He encountered the exact same caution that had guided actors for nearly a century, but Bailey made a conscious choice to reject those rules. Eventually, he decided that holding his partner's hand in public and using his own face on dating apps mattered far more than shrinking his life to secure a contract. His choice proved a modern actor could play a straight romantic lead while living with absolute honesty in his private life. Finally, the story returns to the Welsh actor whose journey encapsulates this struggle. Luke Evans grew up in a strict Jehovah's Witness household, an environment where celebrating a birthday was forbidden. When he accidentally mentioned his birthday at school, the resulting bullying forced him to hide his true self for years. At 16, he left his home and religion behind, trading security for a life where he could finally breathe. By the early 2000s, he lived openly as a gay actor in the London theater scene, long before the film industry took notice. When he transitioned into major action roles, studio representatives tried to steer interviews away from his past statements, attempting to build a conventional, straight persona around him. Evans refused to let them rewrite his history. In his late 2024 memoir, he laid everything bare, detailing the pain of being shunned by his family and the triumph of becoming an international action star. Looking across this long line of performers, the central pattern remains clear. From the synthetic, studio-arranged weddings of 1955 to warnings delivered on modern sets, the pressure to conform has never truly vanished. It merely changed its tactics. What changed was the courage of the performers. Each successive generation pushed back a little harder, refusing to sacrifice their humanity for a spot on a billboard. The difficult part was never simply uttering the words. It was fighting for the right to keep living them once the cameras stopped rolling. If these hidden histories of resilience and honesty stayed with you, please like and subscribe, because there are still many untold stories waiting to share their light.